we took this subtitle because this idea follows the function is out of the architecture culture in Germany. It's called Bauhaus Stil, and this means, of course, the function is the number one, and we build all around the function. And also this is a principle for the FCI standard of the German Shepherd dog. That's why we have this subtitle. Here's the outline for today. At all, we talk a little bit about overall build of the German Shepherd. The second, we will talk about the size and the weight of the dog. Topic 3 will be the head, the neck, and the teeth, because it's very important for working dogs. And topic 4, we talk about proportions and the coat. And the topics after, we talk about the forequarters, very special in German Shepherds, and later on the croup and the hindquarters. And at all, the last topic will be the movement. And the movement, of course, is a very special topic in German Shepherds, but we have to talk in details before what is necessary to have this special movement in the German Shepherd. Okay, the German Shepherd. Out of the view of the R3 2000 club in Germany, the German Shepherd is a working dog. Nothing more, nothing less. The foundation is the FCI standard 166. And of course, in R3 2000, we follow the FCI standard for German Shepherd dog. So what the German Shepherd dog has to be, it has to be a medium-sized dog, very important. So, because nowadays we have a lot of dogs, they are oversized, and I will tell you later on what is meant by medium-sized dog. The German Shepherd is slightly elongated. So here the dog is a little bit longer than high. And here I give you also a definition out of it. The dog has to be strong, well muzzled, of course, lean, and firm structured. That's what the German Shepherd has to be. The German Shepherd is split into two directions, into paradigms, and here this is told by the what you can say, the former president of the WSW and the former president of the SW, Dr. Heinrich Messler, and he said, okay, we have here two directions. Everybody knows very well we have in the German Shepherd the working lines and the show lines. But officially, by the standard doesn't know the difference. So for us, the German Shepherd is a working dog. And now we have to talk about the two lines or two directions of breeding. And we have a fancier group in the German Shepherd scene. They took one trait of the standard and they said, hey, the German Shepherd is a trotter. Trot is a kind of movement in the German Shepherd. And here the dog splits by this idea. The German Shepherd enthusiasts say, one group of the enthusiasts said the German Shepherd is a working dog. The other ones said it's a trotter, but it's both at the same time. So in our club, we don't split the breed into directions and take this puzzle back to the working dog. So you know now very well the R3 2000 as the second club in the FCI who breeds German Shepherds. Here we breed only working dogs. Okay, next topic, size and weight. The rhesus, here we measure the height of the dog. So it's a little bit behind the shoulder blade. They measure this. And here with the standard, you can see the German Shepherd male is 60 to 65 centimeters high, plus minus 1 centimeter, but this is extra. And the female could be a little bit smaller, from 55 to 60 centimeters, also plus minus 1 centimeter. The weight, the female has the weight between 30 and 40 kilos, and the female it's 22 to 32 kilogram. And you will find these numbers also in the FCI standard. Let us talk about the head. The head has to be 40%, nearly 40% from the wither's high. So, and there you can see now, is the dog small or big? Here you can have now a measurement tool where you can work with it. The upper head has to be 50%, and the face part also 50%. In the working dog sport, IGP or Schutzhund, you have also a second very well-known breed. This is the Belgian Shepherd. And by Belgian Shepherds, for example, here it's possible that the face part is a little bit longer than the upper part of the head. So, but for German Shepherds, it's 50-50 by the head. Let us talk about the teeth. The teeth in the adult dog has to be 42. And we have here shown the teeth. This is the, sorry. So now here you have the upper jaw, and here you have the lower jaw. The incisors are the teeth in the front, these blue ones. You have here in the upper jaw and in the lower jaw 6. And then you have the canines. These are the big teeth here, you can see. Also in the upper jaw 2 and in the lower jaw 2 has to be. And then we have here the premolar teeth. It's here in the upper jaw, it's 4. In the lower jaw has to be also 4. In our breed, we have sometimes a little bit of problem with the P1 here in the lower jaw, and also in the upper jaw. Sometimes it's missing or it's double. And of course, we have working dogs, and in a German Shepherd dog, we are very strict as show judges that the teeth has to be there. Yeah, when teeth are missing, so the highest value cannot given. So then we have the molars. These are the big teeth here in the back. In the upper jaw, it's only 2. In the lower jaw, it's 3. Okay, and these are the teeth in the dog. And for the German Shepherd, it's very necessary that we have a scissors bite. Yeah, it's you know very well when I say scissors. What does it mean? So other kinds of biting is not allowed in German Shepherds. And of course, when there are difference here, this has to be closed very well. The incisors here has to close in the front, but the distance between this and this teeth in the front don't has to be more than 2 millimeters. When it's more, okay, then the dog got also lower value. So by the biting, we are very strict. In other working dogs, it's not so strict like in German Shepherds. Okay, let us talk about the neck. The neck of the German Shepherd has to be strong, well muscled, and very well known. The degree by the neck has to be 45% when the dog is standing. And this is also very interesting for training dogs, because with this degree, it's not able to create a dog or train a dog that is star-looking style, because the dog cannot overstretch the head very extremely. When you train it a little bit like this is nowadays very common in the IGP sport, then of course you create other problems, and the dog has to solve this problem to go with the hindquarters more to the ground, and then you can create a head style that looks to the stars. So, okay, proportions. So here we measure the height of the dog from the ground to the withers, and I put it in index number 100. And here the chest has to be only 45 to 48%. And this is written in the FCI standard. Nowadays, we find it in some breeding directions, especially in show lines, and also in the old GDR lines. They are much more heavier here in the front than the working lines. And it means they have here the size from 50% and the legs also 50%. And this is quite interesting. When you follow the knowledge of this VDH book, it calls Movement, Dogs in Movement, then we know very well when the dog is structured like this, then the weight here, it's what is on the front legs, it's 60%, and on the back legs, it's 40%. So this is balanced out a little bit. And when you have dogs, they are bigger in the chest here. They have deeper chest, like 50%, and a lot of chest here in the front. And then we will have in the front more weight. The balance point, it's going more in the front, and the weight, it's 63%, and the weight in the backhand, it's 37%. And so we create dogs, they have much more problems to jump, because they have to push the in the front the whole weight, and now they have to push more weight. And so you create dogs, they have a little bit struggle with jumping. But when you are breeding dogs, they are fitting more to the FCI standard, with this chest from 45 to 48%, then you create better jumpers, and you have also very good movement in the dogs. As I want to say, especially to the chest. Then, of course, we have the length to height ratio, and here this has to be 10% to 70% longer than the height of the dog. And this is developed or discovered by the founder of the breed, of the RC, of the German Shepherd dog. This is Captain von Stefanitz. And here we measure this by the chest bone and go to the sitting bone. And here we measure the length, and this has to be 10% to 70% longer. So here, for example, I give you some numbers. When you have withers of 64 centimeters high, then the chest has to be 29 centimeters deep, yeah, and the dog has to be long 70 to 74 centimeters. When the dog is shorter, of course, it could be possible, but it's not so often in German Shepherds. But sometimes the dog is a little bit longer, and then you create also problems by the movement. And for the females here, you can see, as an example, when you have a higher female, 59 centimeters, the breast has to be 27 centimeters deep, and the dog has to be long 65 to 69 centimeters. It's very easy to measure. So, and here you see, of course, the length to height ratio is 10 to 9. It means this has to be 10 parts and this has to be 9 parts, and then it fits very easily. Then we come to the coat. By German Shepherds, we have 2 varieties of the hair. We have one called double coat, that's the normal and most common variation. And then we have the long, harsh outer coat. In the old times, we talk about stock hair and long stock hair. And also by German Shepherds, we have only 3 colors. There are some fanciers out there. They want to say, hey, we have much more. But by German Shepherds, it's only gray, black and tan, and black. And of course, there are varieties in between by the colors. And here, let us take a look a little bit to the colors. I took the pictures from the book of Lewis Donald from the last year. He has a lot of examples, and here you can see now the varieties in between from black to gray color. Here we have the black dog. The next is the black dog with some markings, and it goes in varieties much more. So we have very big black part, and it comes more and more. And later on now we come to the most popular colors or in the show lines. Yeah. Here the black part goes smaller. So then you got the saddle here. And in the show dogs, you have much more red and not so much more yellow. And here you can see this is more yellow part by the bee colors. And then we come to the variations of the gray colors. And here the yellow part is very few. It looks more than gray. These varieties you have quite a lot, but not so much anymore. And here we come to the dark sable colors. And this is what is very modern nowadays by the working dogs. Okay, and this a lot of people called this variation the Czech style or the GDR style. These sable dogs are much darker. Okay, let us talk now a little bit the Forequarters. Here I show you a little bit this by the skeleton. We have here the shoulder blade. We have here the shoulder blade, and here the upper arm. That's quite interesting. The degree between the shoulder blade and the upper arm, it's defined by 90 degrees, but this is not natural, and it's nearly impossible to create this by breeding. It's more 100 to 110 degrees here in the shoulder, this degree here. And then we have the lower bone in the front. And this is also quite interesting because the front pastons here has to be 1/3 of the length of this bone. And so it's defined. And so you have this front paston in defined size. And of course, here you have also the degree 20 to 22 degrees in the front pastern. This is very important because it's a little bit like a feather. And when you want a dog who is very good in movement and can run a very long time, then you need here this degree in the front pastern. When it's much more angulated, then the dog will get very quick, very tired. So, and for the German Shepherd enthusiasts, you will read it by a lot of description of the dogs. Sometimes it's written that this upper bone here in the front is short. Yeah, it has to be a little bit more longer. But when you read it in a description of a dog, then you know very well this show judge has no knowledge about anatomic, because this upper bone is 100% correlated to the shoulder blade. And here the breeding influence of the upper arm, it's nearly impossible. You cannot stretch this by breeding. So then when you cannot change it, then it's not necessary to describe. Here you can see it very well. This is out of the book, Movement of Dogs from the wee age. And here you see what is the size of this upper bone and the shoulder blade. And here you can say the variation is very low in this. Okay. Let us talk about the hindquarters. Next part, very interesting, because the hindquarters of the German Shepherd is one of the big topic a lot of people talk about. So let us start with this. In the hindquarters, we have this croup, and this croup is meaning this part here. We have their coat, we have their skin, we have their muscles, and we have also the bones there. And in the standard is written that the croup has to be nearly 23 degrees. And in our club, we do it like this. To what you can say, to evaluate if the croup has to be the right size and proportion. So we measure here from the sit bone to the iliac crest with a measurement tool, and then we got the degrees between 30 and 35. And then this is correlated to a croup of 33 degree. 23 degree. And that's quite interesting. Now you have a tool to bring the dogs a little bit more to the standard, because when you are on the field and you want to describe a dog, then sometimes the eye, when it's not taught quite well, then you come to a wrong result there. So let us come to the next part of the hindquarters. So, and this is here the length of the upper bone in the back and the lower bone in the back. And the degree is also the degree of the upper bone to the lower bone. It's described in the FCI standard, and there's written it has to be 120. And in German Shepherds, we have, especially in the show lines, nowadays a big problem with the lower bone here. The lower bone goes longer and longer. And this is not especially for German Shepherds. It's also common in other breeds too. Yeah, it's not especially a problem in German Shepherds. But of course, when you breed here longer and longer lower bone, as you can do, then you got more instabilities in the knee. And here you have to be very careful. So, and then we come to the point for the description in German Shepherds. What is slightly backwards? In the German Shepherd standard, it's written that the hindquarters are slightly backwards, and nobody knows very exactly what is optimum and what is too much and what is too less. And here it's quite interesting when you go to the sit bone and make a direct line to the ground. Then the optimum point is when the toes, I think it's called toes, are directly here. That's optimum. Then it's slightly backwards. So, and nowadays, by the breeding of the German Shepherd, the last 125, 26 years, we create dogs with the hindquarter or the paths, they go more back and back, more and more back in this direction. And for us in the R3 2000, we make what you can say a little bit of idea or make markings and said what it's okay, what it's also optimum, because optimum it's not only one point, it could be also a little bit a range. And we said from this point to the toes, when it's maximum 9 centimeters by a very big male, then it's also optimum. By a small size male or big size female, 8 centimeters between the paths, the toes on and this point, it's also okay. And by little females, it's 7 centimeters. And then it's totally accepted in the R3 2000. When you have dogs, they are standing much more behind, or the hindquarters stand very big behind there, then of course there is a restriction and they got a lower value, because when you have more backstanding, you got more instabilities in the knee and also here by the angle of the foot. Okay, hope this was helpful. And then we talk more about the movement in the German Shepherd. And the movement is very special. And here I will talk a little bit about why it's special. The special movement, the special part is the trot in the German Shepherd. Of course, the trot is a fundamental gait of the dog. The dog has normally 3 different gaits. It's walking, it's trot, and it's called in English, I hope it's gallop. In German, it's called gallop. I don't know what it's in English exactly. So, and for the German Shepherd, it should be easy the transition into this kind of gait. And for the German Shepherd, it's like this. He has to be able to be long time in the trot phase of movement. And of course, it's very energy efficient. And that's quite interesting when we talk about the efficiency, because the fancies for the show breeding, they talk about efficiency, energy efficiency by the movement of the trot. But we know very exactly when we change the speed over 12 kilometers per hour, then the trot movement or trot as a gait is not the most energy efficient movement. Then the dog has to be run, and it's more energy efficient. So, and now we come to the very special part. It's the crossing of the stride length of the hindquarters into the stride length of the front quarters must be given special attention. What does it mean? So here you see the strides of the length in the front pass of the front quarter and the hind quarter. And you see here by German Shepherd, this is quite special, that the paths from the backhand crosses into the line of the paths on the front hand. Very little here. This is very special for the German Shepherd. And that's totally okay. Here you can see what we talk about. And we will go on in the movement. This is called the crossover. Here now we have this overreach, where the hindquarters go into the movement pattern of the front quarters. And this has to be very special, and I will show you what is the difference. To have this movement that you have more from the more than overcrossing to overreach, you have to change in your dogs the movement points here. You have to lower it up in the backhand. And then you will see, you will create bigger steps in the backhand. In the front hand, of course, you can make it also much more extreme, but it's not necessary. And then you will have here very big overreaching from the backhand into the stride of the front hand. And here this has to be, here we have to be very careful. This is this overreaching here. And here I show you a picture where you can see what is the difference. Here we have the leg from the hindquarters, and here the leg from the front quarters. And the overcrossing is when we go into the stride of the front hand. Not the most time, it's not into, it's a little bit on the side. And here we have the difference by overreaching. This you will see by the working dogs, and this you will see by the show dogs. And this is our biggest problem in shepherd breeding, because this creates dogs with a lot of instabilities in the knee, in the angulation of the foot, in the hindquarters. This makes big problems because this brings our dogs into the direction of torture breeding, and this we don't want to go. So now bringing you a little bit into history. This overreach is common in the 1940s, and yeah, it's promoted and go to a selective value, and breeders breed this. Breeders of working lines never take part of it. And also the founders of the breed, the captain Stefan Netz, did not value the overreach. he said it's not functional. That's why we don't need it. So this is what I said a little bit about the efficiency. Yeah, the overreach has to be especially energy efficient, and so we know very well it's a myth, and it pushes our dogs towards to unethical breeding practices, and this is what we really don't want. In RSV 2000, of course, in my club, we categorically reject this overreaching. Yeah. Okay. This is what I want to talk with you about. This. And now I want to show you, for me, one of the best anatomic dogs out of our club. It shows a little bit different. When I talked to Nick before this webinar, then he told me that he has also a dog of RSV 2000 lines, and then the dog will maybe shown nearly like this dog. So and now you can see what is very important. Here we have this high from the withers to the ground, 100%, and from the chest bone to the sitting bone, this dog, it's nearly 115%. And you see also the chest here, it's not 50-50, it's more 45 to 55%. Yeah, so the proportions are quite well in this dog. Of course, you see here the front pastern, it's more 20 degrees. And when you take a look to the upper arm and the shoulder, it looks more than 110 degrees. Here in RSV 2000, of course, we use a measurement tool to measure this angulation here. Then we go back to the hindquarters. By the hindquarters here, you can see we have here the sitting bone. When we make a straight line, then you can see, of course, here we have a little bit of distance, but it's much more less than 9 centimeters. Of course, when you want to measure this and when you want really to evaluate a little bit more, then this foot has to stand on the ground in 90 degrees. When you see other pictures nowadays to promote the dogs, here the working dogs, of course, a lot of them are overstretched and the foot is looking is going a little bit like this, and then you of course lower the hip, but it's manipulated, huh? So okay, here you see it, very important. Remember, from the upper bone to the lower bone here it has to be 120 degrees, and from the sit bone to the iliac crest here it has to be 30 to 35%, and then you will have a croup that it's 23 degrees. Okay, what is very important for German Shepherds, so I don't talk it before, it is this part, yeah, what it is in English, Lende. What is Lende in English? Loin, the loin part of the back. So it's very important that you have here a straight line. We have here the chest part of the back, here the loin part of the back, and this has to be a straight line. And nowadays we have a lot of problems in German Shepherds that this is curved a little bit. In English called kyphosis or kyphosis. I think it's called kyphosis, and this we have to avoid. This has to be straight, so that all the muscles and all the nerves they're going here are not compressed, so that the dog got really healthy back. Okay, this is one of our famous dog. You will, I want to take it, or I took a longer time to select the picture for you, what is the best dog of the RC 2000. I think from anatomic part, this is one of the best dogs the last 18 years, what we breed. Of course, it's not everything perfect in a dog. You will not find everything good in a dog. In this dog, for example, here the color, especially the yellow parts, could be a little bit more intensive. This is a little bit too less, but by anatomic, as a working dog, good for jumping, good for working, good endurance, then you need this type of German Shepherd dogs. And this is what the RC 2000 stands for. Okay. That's my talk about the German Shepherd dog. Thank you for taking your time.